Hey guys, what's going on? This is Pantheon, and today we'll be doing the top 10 best junglers for solo queue as of patch 5.11. And we haven't done one since patch 5.9, so I just want to give you an update on what the best junglers are. Plus, there are actually some new junglers popping in solo queue that I'm actually seeing, so it's actually pretty interesting. I just want to talk about them for a little bit. Also, some of the new top junglers have been nerfed a bit, so I just want to give you an idea of where they're kind of positioned in terms of other relevant junglers right now. And with all that being said, let's get started. Okay, so at number 10 is going to be Kazakhs. Kazakhs got a buff this patch where his isolation range is now 425 instead of 500. And, you know, that's not actually a lot, but the thing is, he's actually pretty strong in solo queue because of how well he can carry. He's like Rengar. I do feel like Rengar is a bit more consistent, but the thing is about Kazakhs when I play against him is he's actually so strong, especially when he's fed. Like, if he doesn't die before the team fight starts, he's just gonna clean up your team, especially, you know, if his team's winning those team fights. Then he just cleans up the team fight and snowballs harder even more. And his clear is actually pretty good too. And yeah, he's just like a carry jungler. The only problem about him is that he doesn't have a lot of utility, so if he falls behind, he's somewhat useless. He can't really go tanky since, well, he's an assassin. Basically, if you can snowball and carry your team, he's just the way to go. Remember, if you die early or something like that, then it's a bit hard for him to actually come back. Also, since it is the tank meta, it's actually pretty hard for him to pick off those people who are kind of low since, well, tanks don't really get low and he has to rely on the backline kind of dying and getting chunked a bit, so it's, you know, he's just not in the meta right now, but it is solo queue, so it doesn't really matter that much, but it matters for a competitive play. Alright, next up is going to be Rengar. Again, he's a solo queue kind of god. Well, not really, he's not a god, but there are solo queue Rengar gods who annoy me. Acadian is one of them. He gets a really good KDA every game somehow. And he knows how to get his kills, so if you know how to get your kills with Rengar, and then one-shot the little squishies in the back line when a team fight starts, then you're good to go. Don't play tank Rengar, play AD assassin Rengar. Don't even play Bruiser Rengar or the Black Cleaver. Get the Brutalizer, Tiamat, Last Whisper and stuff. I'd only play him if I was really good at him, and most games I knew how to snowball and get kills around the map and, you know, have a high KDA, but for the average player, probably not. Next up is Vi, so yeah, she's pretty good. Nothing's really happened to her. She is kind of good in the tank meta because of her W doing % health damage. And she's kind of a carry jungle if built the right way. I don't like going Cinder Hulk on her. I think it's kind of dumb because, well, she's got a lot of damage. But I feel like she's kind of falling out of flavor. Not a lot of people are playing her right now. And there's just better junglers to play, like the top 5. And at number 7 is going to be Evelynn. Warrior Enchantment Evelynn. People like her, I personally don't. I feel like, you know, there's actually better junglers for me to play, but that's just me. But other people like to be, you know, stealthy Evelynn and gank those lanes without worrying about sight wards and, you know, snowballing the early game before she falls off because, well, she will eventually fall off in the late game. But hey, if you can make that early game count, who the fuck cares about late game, right? The only thing is, I don't like her early game clears because they don't have any sustain, and I have to buy a lot of pots, but that's just me. Next up is Shyvana, and they did nerf her W damage. Instead of doing 10% maximum health damage, it now does 6%. The way I think about it is she'll probably use her W twice in one team fight, so you might be losing a good amount of damage, but at least it's only on a single target, usually. I mean, the on-hit effect is AoE, but you'll probably only hit one target most of the time. It also hurts her clears a little bit if you think about it, because, I mean, 4% health, that's, you know, a lot of damage. But thank God there's Cinder Hulk and the after effect of her W. Either way, I don't feel like the nerf hurt her too much. She still has a lot of her CC. She still does a lot of damage with her W, swinging it around, and her ultimate is probably one of the best initiations in the game. As long as you don't pull an X-Smithy, you're good to go. Next up at number 5 is going to be Lee Sin. Play him if you know how to play him, if you're an average player item like me, who knows how to play him, but not to the fullest extent, then don't play him. That's all I really gotta say in terms of this tank meta. Well, it doesn't really matter, he controls early game and can snowball that, but otherwise he falls off mid and late game. Most tanks will be better than him at that point. Next up at number 4 is going to be Nidalee. In terms of people saying, yeah, she's kind of falling off a bit, it's true, she's falling off, I guess, competitive play, but for solo queue, she is still dominant and, you know, has those spears, has that cougar, and kills you. When she gets fed, ooh, she's quite of a problem. And like, say if she gets that spear before a team fight even starts and it's on a squishy, well, if they do initiate a team fight, they're probably gonna lose because, you know, you chunk their AD carries. So it's like objective control in that way. And like, there was a health nerf back before, but that doesn't really matter because she kind of makes up for it with her E. Like, she heals back the damage that she took, so it doesn't really matter too much. I prefer not to play her because, I mean, I'm not experienced too much with her. I'd rather play other champions because I'm not as good as some other players in my ELO. But for those Nidalee mains or players who know how to play Nidalee very well, you know what I mean, you can carry those games easily. At number 3 is going to be Gregor. The last nerf was to his E, you know, the width and like collision radius. And it wasn't too big, it was just hitting more things than it was before, so not really much nerfs here, and he's still a good champion. And at number 2 is going to be rek'sai. So she took a nerf to her base health. It was about 40 less now. And the reason that doesn't matter is because she heals back the damage of that 40 in her passive. So it doesn't really matter too much. Kind of the same situation as Nidalee. And honestly, I do feel like she's really strong in carrying games. Especially more than Gragas. It's just her tunnels give her a lot more clear speeds. Her clear speeds are actually really good. And her base damage is still there, right? And she's naturally tanky with her passive, giving her a lot of health. So that's, you know, pretty good. I'll always have a high opinion of her until I see something happen to her. I mean, she's a champion I carried to Challenger with this season, so she's a really good indication of how good of a jungler you are, because you can carry with her since her mobility is strong and she has really good base damage. And at number 1 is still going to be Nunu, the one champion that you guys don't like me talking about being at number 1 because, I don't know, he doesn't feel like a carry champion, but who honestly cares about carrying when you win games with him? Like, hey man, before Cinderhulk, he wasn't that good because he only had single target clears. Now, he has AoE clears with that Cinderhulk. In my opinion, solo queue isn't really about carrying unless you feel like you're actually better than your ELO and you need to carry fast. Then by all means, play Nidalee, play Kazakhs, play Rengar, play someone who does damage. But if you want to win games consistently and slowly, you play Nunu. Like, say you're stuck in Platinum 1. Like, say you're stuck in Platinum 1. You feel that you're at your skill level, and, well, it's probably true because you're stuck at Platinum 1. Now, if you play Nunu, you'll probably win more games than average. And especially if you have a duo AD carry or a good AD carry, then even better. For me, I'm probably stuck in Challenger around 500 LP, so I can't carry my team and pick carry junglers. I have to pick Nunu and rely on my teammates to carry me. Next we're going to do honorable mentions, and first up is going to be Smite, Teleport, Hecarim for the jungle. Not for top lane. But yeah, he got his Q buff for the jungle, so that's really good for him. And the thing is, if he's not being played in the top lane, then I guess you can play him in the jungle since he's pretty good. He's actually one of my niche junglers I would play if it came to it and he's not being played in the top lane. Even without these buffs, I definitely still played him, but you know, now he's much better and people are being innovative and taking teleport on him while in the jungle, so that's pretty interesting too. And yeah, I just have high opinions of him. The only reason I guess he's not in top 10 is because right now he is a top laner more, so yeah. Next up is going to be Udyr. He is still here. He's actually fallen on a flavor around my elo, and I haven't seen him in a while, but like nothing's really changed about him. Cinderhulk may have been nerfed a bit, but that's fine. He still has his Phoenix stance for the Sunfire kind of effect. So yeah, I just feel like he's still a good champion right now. And next up, we're going to be talking about Tank Jungle Echo. Okay, so I understand the concept of Tank Jungle Cinderhulk Echo. Like, it's really interesting because he has pretty good base damage. And, you know, his ultimate is there to retract some of the damage that was dealt to him. So he actually has more hit point than you think. And he actually has a lot of CC coming from his passive, his Q and his W. And he also has a gap closer with his E. It does kind of make sense because he does fall off late game as AP. It's hard for him to get in these team fights and stay in them without getting bursted out or forced to use his ultimate. But at least as tank, he can stay in these team fights and, you know, do his damage and passive and whatever before he has to use his ultimate. So that's pretty good. But I just feel like other junglers are like more tankier and like he does offer utility, but the W stun isn't too reliable since it requires for you to get there and you have to time it right. And he still falls off more harder than most junglers these days. And yeah, I have played him and my final opinion is I just don't think he's that great. I don't even think AP Jungle Echo is the right way to go. I think he's more of a mid laner or a top laner, and it requires for him to get super ahead in the game to do good, since he is so item reliant. Otherwise, he's not that great. Next up is Pantheon. I like him. He offers a great early game, especially when he's level 6, and he can camp a lane, and they can't really see it coming, so that's the best part about him. And full AD Pantheon is the way to carry games, of course, so you do lots of damage and kill those people. Next up, we have something new showing up in the jungle a bit from some solo queue players I've been seeing, and that's going to be Jungle Shyvana. With the Cinderhole coming in, that obviously helps her clears much more. And like a while ago, she got a buff to her W where she does bonus damage to monsters, so that helps a lot more too. And yeah, I actually think it's pretty decent. I actually think she's actually pretty decent in the jungle. Like, she has fast clears, has a lot of damage coming into that mid game, and she's fairly tanky. What she doesn't offer is any early game pressure because, you know, her ganks suck. So she has to hope to God that her team gets to that mid game so she can start wrecking people. Hey guys, so thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy this video, maybe you'll enjoy top 5 best supports for solo queue, then it does top 5 best mid laners and AD carries. All for patch 5.11 supports is going to be the same because, well, that was done in the ancient coin phase where that got buffed, so yeah, it's going to be relatively the same. I think Bard should be a bit higher because he's actually really good right now, especially in the right hands, but whatever. And so yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy it, subscribe right there and join the No Pants Party. I am Pants Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.
Probably off a narco and gas, not the arco. Poppin' since the intro, you shopping from the window. Play my favorite tempo. Oh, luxury.